scans. The local government hospitals also have the CAT scans. I think PCSO for a long time have been supporting the procurement of CAT scans by the LGUs, Your Honor.
And finally, Mr. Chairman, on the midwives to the barrios, you have a budget of 123 million. What would this be? Is this for the salaries of midwives?
Essentially, yes, Your Honor. They have a MOU component of about 64 million, and for personnel will be about 60 million, Your Honor.
Well, I'm focusing on this because there was a study conducted by Social Watch Philippines that shows very clearly that in areas where we have enough midwives, plus the doctors and nurses, the maternal mortality rate as well as the infant mortality rate would decline very significantly. There is a direct correlation between the number of the percentage of midwives plus nurses and doctors compared to the population and the maternal mortality rate in those areas. Also infant mortality rate.
Yes, Your Honor, that is now the thrust of the Department of Health. You will see there's much money that is being put in the conversion of many RHUs into facilities capable of providing basic as well as comprehensive emergency obstetrical and newborn care. The increased number of midwives to the barrios is very much consistent with the objective of our program, precisely to address MDG 5 and reducing maternal mortality rate by 2015 by 3/4.
But I do hope that you will address the variances as you go from one region to another region, and even on a province-by-province basis, because I noticed that there is so much imbalance in the distribution of doctors, nurses, and midwives. There are some regions and provinces where there's a big percentage, but then there are some regions and provinces where the percentage is very low, and then the result would be a much higher mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, as well as infant mortality rate.
You're right, Your Honor. That is why we have a prioritization of areas, especially the poorer LGUs and municipalities, where we will have to be more aggressive in the implementation of this program. In fact, we have 16,000 midwives, almost 17,000 midwives, Your Honor. This is the number of them by year 2008. So we hope to increase this somewhat, precisely to effectively carry out our objective.
Do you have some kind of a tie-up with the Department of Education?
Yes.
I mean, the CHED?
For CHED...
Even TESDA? I don't know if TESDA is offering training in this area.
I don't believe so. CHED, I think, is the more appropriate agency. I do think that we do have a coordination with CHED, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you for the help that you're extending to my district, especially with respect to rabies control and other problems. Mr. Chairman, maraming po salamat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Roilo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First of all, before I'd like to clarify some matters, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to greet our good Secretary, Secretary Duque, and the DOH family, although I have not seen Secretary Duque for quite a long while, and I haven't called him up. And not because our district doesn't have any concerns, but because he is a very able assistant in Dr. Robert's song, yun ang dahilan na we are no longer calling each other up, no? So may I know what's the position of Dr. Song, Secretary?
executive assistant.
Training assistant.
Yes, but right now he's a division chief, I think,
Yes, yes,
with
yeah.
PhilHealth.
I believe sometimes officials, appointed officials here are being criticized for their inefficiency, but I believe that this would also be the proper time to give credit where credit is due. And I'd like to...
Thank you, Mr. Congressman, but he happens to be working for me, Your Honor.
Yeah, but my district is really, the concerns of my district has really been addressed. Almost all the concerns of my district have been addressed through, of course, with your consent. No, I'm sure that's being consulted with you by Dr. So.
But he's been very effective with most of those who ask for assistance, Your Honor.
Yes. So, but aside from that, I'd like to just be clarified about some policies of the department, which I'm sure could also help out in serving our people, especially with regards to their health, because this is the main concern of your department. I noticed, Mr. Secretary, that in your organizational chart, I was trying to look for the hospitals, where under what section it falls, the private and government hospitals, and I see here regional hospitals and special hospitals, but under what section does it fall under in your department? I'm sure you have supervision.
Your Honor, insofar as the private hospitals are concerned, they are subject to the regulatory functions of the Bureau of Health Facilities and Services, and also for their equipment, the Bureau of Health Devices and Technology, and for accreditation by the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation.
And they get their permits to operate.
Exactly, Your Honor. License to operate.
License. And you have the power, if they violate, you have the power to close.
Well, we
Or to
can...
suspend their operations.
Yes, Your Honor, if the violations are seen based on our existing laws.
Yes.
But they go through a process, Your Honor.
So, in your policies, you do not have an exact, let's say, punishment for some violations. Like, for example, in a